That's our fault. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps, right?
Okay,
we were never given boots to begin with.
Today I'm in an all-black hoodie with the hoodie on type of mood because what I'm about to get into today is probably going to do for you what it did for me, which is at first, piss you off. Secondly, boil your blood. And thirdly, give you insight into the truth. What I'm about to get into is a perfect example of something I've been looking to articulate and explain about the victimhood mindset and just how far it can go and how it will literally cripple you in life. It will strip you of your very own power. It will have you living in delusion and it will leave you high and dry. And yet it is sold to you. It is presented to you by the quote unquote powers that be as, you know, the most feasible option, as the best option. Blame everybody else for your life and you will feel a sense of, at the very least, ease. Very best, freedom. When in truth, you end up like this young man right here. Confused, disturbed, broke, dusty, and disgusting. And this is not an insult to this young man. I actually feel for him because I understand what it is to be given over to this spirit of entitlement and to the mentality that essentially life is only happening to you and you have no control over your own personal life circumstances. So that being said, let's get into a video which I did not even know existed until maybe a couple hours ago when I was trying to post a piece of content onto TikTok and, you know, they throw you onto that For You page. So it don't matter if you're just, you know, you're there for business, they're bringing the party right in front of you. And this thing absolutely got my attention in the first few seconds because I saw a familiar face, a brother that I used to tune into back in the day when I was getting, you know, my wheels under me when I finally started thinking for myself. And I saw this exchange taking place. So let's get into this video. Shout out to Officer Tatum for just being a real one, you know. This is an individual who is not afraid to speak his mind at the very least. And for me, I say it doesn't matter if you're on the left, on the right, so long as you're willing to have open conversation and be honest and stand where you stand, I got respect for you. And so that being said, let's get into this.
What's your name?
Chris.
Chris? Okay, yeah. Chris.
I noticed you have the, unless I read wrong, you have the Make America Great Again.
Yeah, I do.
I want you to tell me exactly the point in history where America was great.
You know, it's funny. Point to me a time in history where America wasn't great. Tell me where it starts.
The birth of America?
By the way, before I even get into this, because I'm somebody who is a citizen of the United States, wasn't born here. I had the privilege of moving here at 10 years old, getting my citizenship after having a green card for a prolonged period of time. And one thing I'm going to say is this. It's always interesting to me that those who have the greatest criticisms for this nation are the ones who have had all the privileges of this nation. There are people every single day trying to make their way into this country. I know we were one of those families and have a multitude of family members back home who are still looking to make their way here, right? 20, 30 years later. And one thing I know for a fact is that nobody is trying to break into a country they believe sucks. So again, this is one of these arguments that I've oftentimes heard, you know, come up when it's in relationship to, you know, America. Everybody's anti-America, yet nobody actually wants to take the step and leave if it's really that problematic. So again, this is symptomatic of that victimhood mentality that we have taken into consideration, not even taken, that we have adopted and we have seen as normal and we have incentivized in a lot of different ways. Because most of us are afraid to tell the truth. Just say it how it is. But that time's changing. Time's already changing, as a great Bob Dylan once said.
This country
was
wasn't
built
great.
on murder and thievery and deception. What do you mean?
Now let me explain this to you real quick. This is for everybody to listen to. Everybody always have this perception that we shouldn't acknowledge America as being great. America started at a certain point and grew and came better over time. No country that you know of was 100% perfect at the foundation. No country.
You
no
didn't answer my
country in the
question.
world. No countries in Africa, no countries in Europe. You can name it. Everybody started at a certain point and it became greater
you
over
didn't
time.
Answer my question.
Ever since you've been alive, America has been the greatest it's ever been.
You think so?
100%, brother. You can name somewhere else that's better than America. And why don't you live there?
I'm not sure.
I know you're not sure because they don't exist.
Were they?
Show me somewhere else that's as diverse as America. Anywhere.
As diverse?
That's as diverse.
What does diversity mean if people are
Opportunities
being
for
discriminated
all
against?
people. Show me another country that give opportunities for all people like America
Do you
does.
think we have the same opportunity as everybody else, as black people?
Yeah, 100%.
With a 200-year economic head start on us and no
What's
reparations?
stopping you now? Aren't you at this university?
Yeah.
You're at the university just like all these white people. How's that any different? Can't you?
I want you to go 2 blocks that way and tell.
Mind you, this isn't relevant for the place that you're watching this, but here in the United States, if you live in this country, you are immediately classified as the 1% of wealth within the entirety of where the world still is right now. You are the 1%. So this young man right here who's got, he's got the drip on, he's got a lineup. The lineup was definitely not free unless his roommate did that, which I'm guessing did. And so he's able to pay for that, right? He's got some clothes on, so he's able to pay for that. He's got a book bag on. Oh, and mind you, he's in university, which the average cost at university is probably ranging between $15,000 to $40,000 a year or semester, I believe it is. I don't even know what the numbers are looking like now, to be honest, because they continue to fluctuate. So, not to fluctuate, they continue to increase. Let me just say it straight up. And again, we view these things as it's my right to be educated. There are countries where they're still looking to even, introduce just basic foundational education, not higher learning, which is not guaranteed or promised to anybody, but just first, second, third, fourth, fifth grade, just the foundation. They're still looking to create infrastructure. Here, we have a mentality that I am owed what I'm owed. But again, that gets into the victim mentality. Let us continue.
Tell me where they at.
You can read. You can go to class. You can make good grades. I'm hoping that you're making straight A's. How is America stopping you from doing that? And how is it stopping you from being prosperous enough to go down the street and make a difference in your own community? How is America stopping you from doing that?
Why is it my responsibility to make a difference in my community that was sabotaged from the start?
Let's go back to the foundation.
Do you think the CIA planted drugs in our communities?
They didn't make you sell it.
I knew this was going here. Again, there's always going to be stories because these people didn't get their belief systems just from anywhere, right? They've been saturating themselves with these. Again, it's not saying that it's fiction. There are definitely things that have happened throughout time, but they're used as a tool to perpetuate the victimhood narrative. That's their only purpose. It's not to have a fair debate. It's not to get to a place of understanding. It's to simply protect yourself from any ideas that may actually, God forbid, place responsibility upon the individual and God forbid, actually have you empowered to go and do something. This is how we're conditioned. We're programmed to believe these things and to fill our minds with as many stories that support that argument as possible in order for us to not make a change. And that's how the ones in quote unquote control stay in those positions of control. Because now you're essentially your own slave master, if you really think about it. You're already arguing for your own decline. You're arguing for your own suffering. You're arguing for your own poverty and your own scarcity and your own lack, for your own failure. So again, I'm gonna get it. Ooh, this one's one of them. And I'll be honest, like it ain't, when I say, piss me off, boil my blood, it's like I've heard 1,000 of these, throughout my times. This is just the first time I'm now sharing this on a public platform. But again, I believe this is important. We need to hear both sides. And there are going to be some who listen and hear this young man and, you're so far gone in that ideology that everything he's saying is making perfect sense. But in a rational mind, maybe you don't lean, with Officer Tatum here, but you're at least going to be somewhere in the middle where you can see that, why would an individual not want to create a better community if that's what they desire? If I want a cleaner park, why would I not pick up the trash at the park, So...
Do you think they?
No. I agree.
Do you think they burned down
stories of how
black
the CIA,
businesses? Do you know what Black Hollywood is?
Let's go one at a time. I've heard stories that the CIA planted drugs in the inner city communities. Not every black community, but in some. They still don't make you go and sell drugs to your brother, do they? Why are you not selling drugs right now? Because it doesn't make sense for you to do that. You have an opportunity to go to a university, get an education, and make yourself better and make your family better in the next few generations. Nobody's stopping us from doing that. I'm sitting on campus right now, and all these people are listening to me.
You know what's stopping
What's stopping me?
Money.
In America, what's stopping you from making money?
Yeah, and then when you start to lose an argument, or when you have no argument to begin with, what do you go to? You go to personal insults, right? So mimicry or mockery, in essence, which again for me is like a telltale sign when somebody is going back and forth with you and they start to get personal with you, or they start personally, insults and things of that nature. You're dealing with a foolish. You are foolish. You are dealing with a foolish individual. You understand me? And for me, I don't even get into it with them folks, to be honest. Like, this brother's way more patient than I am at this point in my life. I'm not even willing to get into it because they want to believe what they want to believe. But I'm thankful that there are individuals like, Officer Tatum, because they're going to go out there and have these conversations and open up conversations for the rest of us on the other side. So, toast to you, brother.
Making money in America.
What the is not stopping us from making money?
You
what
go
the
to the same university as all these white people. How you got a different?
Exactly.
You said what? Excuse me?
We're in debt.
That's
That's our
your
fault. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps, right?
Okay,
we were never given boots to begin with.
Let's start with this.
Brother thinks he's so
I
deep.
actually went and graduated from a university. So I'm not a guy that didn't go to college. I had a full scholarship, so I didn't pay for
what I said, the personal insults, the little jabs here and there. He was first able to pretend to keep his cool, but then the real shows itself when he's yelling because it's about money. He feels like, I can never make it. And I get it. It is, again, they'll feed into those fears, those insecurities that one has. The mass media will feed into that. The organizations and companies that want you to continue to buy things that you don't need. They can't control you and coerce you in any other way besides convincing you and you buying into their narrative. And as soon as you buy into it and own it as your own identity, you end up like this young man right here. Frustrated for absolutely nothing. You're sitting on a beautiful multi-billion-dollar campus, with literally the world at your fingertips, and you're still finding some sort of injustice in it all. So
I didn't pay for school in my undergrad. Graduate school, I paid for out of my pocket. I did not get a loan. I mean, I did not have to get loan forgiveness or nothing like that. I had $11,000 worth of debt and I paid it. How is that different than anybody else out here?
Because everybody doesn't have the same opportunity.
I'm black though. How did I pay my loan off and you can't? Or
where you from?
Well, I'm from Texas, Fort Worth, Texas, Dunbar High School.
Fort Worth,
right
Texas.
In the hood and stop six. Right in the hood and stop six. How did I get to this point if America's against me?
Did everybody in your neighborhood get to that point?
Well, different choices. There's a lot of people in my neighborhood that made it out because they made better choices.
This is so good.
I could have sold drugs. I didn't. Why? Because I wanted something better out of my life.
What do you say about the disproportionate?
I really want to unpack this one because this is a point right here. Equality and equity is this entire conversation piece that has been floating around the ethers. Maybe these words mean nothing to you, but in America, it's like these are real things that are happening, right? These are real conversations that are being had amongst many other sometimes ridiculous types of conversation. Well, it's not a ridiculous conversation. It's just the outcomes of them, right? Seemingly are ridiculous because they're not founded in reality. So you have this idea of equality, right? All men are created equal. Absolutely. 1000%. All of us are equal. But there is never going to be a sense of equity. Equity is when you're trying to have everybody end up in the same place. Now, if you and I are going to run a race, let's say we're going to run a 100-mile or 100-meter dash, right? You train your butt off every single day. You are in that gym. You're on that track. You're doing everything you can. You're taking care of your diet. You're dialed in, right? And I make a decision to do no training, sit my butt on the couch, eat Doritos and Tostitos and all kinds of greasy foods. I sleep real late at night, wake up real late in the morning or even in the afternoon. I am doing everything to sabotage my physical, my physique. I'm doing everything in contradiction to what a winner of a race would do. Now, we both show up to the race. So our equality is the fact that we can both enter the race. Equity, which is we all end up in the same place, will never be the case. Never. There's going to be, look, I was never destined to be in the NBA. It didn't matter how much basketball I played or what I did. I was never going to be that because I would never be 6'1", 6'8", 6'10". I would barely be 5'6". You understand me? Let alone be somebody who was made for that arena. But when it comes to my arena, there's going to be no sense of quote unquote equity when it comes to that. It's not going to seem fair on the outside. Why can he, communicate in the way that he does? And how is he able to, make music? Because that is my own gifting. That is my own calling. And when we operate in our gift, it's going to seem like there's inequalities. But when we're trying to have everybody do the same thing, it's going to look like it's skewed. It's going to look as if there is an injustice taking place, when in reality, there is never going to be the same outcome, because not everybody has the same gifting or skill sets. Not everybody has the same talents. Not everybody has the same aptitudes. And more importantly, not everybody's willing to put in the same amount of work. There's somebody out there who, they want to build a YouTube channel or, put content out there and develop an audience and a community, etc. But they're not willing to record a single video. Or maybe they record one video. And then you got me over here. I'm going to record 3 of them in a day, 4 of them in a day. I'm going to put out shorts as well. I'm going to make my music. I'm going to continue to. And then you want to have the same outcome as me? You're fooling yourself. And if somebody's doing 2 times, 3 times what I'm doing, and I'm expecting to have what they have, I'm looking at a young Kai Cenat. He's doing 24-hour streams, and I'm looking at him like, oh, that's not fair. There should be equity here. Come on, man. What are we doing?
They made better choices. I could have sold drugs. I didn't. Why? Because I wanted something better out of my life.
What do you say about the disproportionate wealth? Is that
okay?
Does that not matter?
It's about culture. How much money do you save?
I don't know. I'm in debt, bro.
You in debt. How much do you invest?
I don't know.
How did you get into debt? Who chose to come here?
Me.
Well, that's you laid it out. Now, when you come here, for every college student here, this should be an investment into your future.
Right.
Anybody that know anything about making money knows that you have to invest to get to the next step.
You may be in debt.
You may be in debt to make an investment to get to the next step. So if you do this properly, this is a debt investment to make more money in the future. If you come here and clown around and take a major that won't put you anywhere, then you just got into debt for no doggone reason. It's a cultural thing. Black people in America.
Yeah, we're programmed out of our own common sense to just, again, go along to get along, follow the herd. Even this conversation in college, I went to 3 junior colleges, dropped out of all 3 because it just wasn't for me. I kept doing it because I was trying to appease my folks, or at least my pops, and I was just like, this ain't for me. I can't do this, and became an entrepreneur. I started my little marketing business, and by the time I was maybe 23, I was making more money, probably 2-3 times more than those who are now leaving college. Now, again, you may think, oh, that's because you're lucky and you had this and you had that. No, it's not. And there were those who were doing significantly better than me, who came from even more dire circumstances. I know guys who started at the very, very, very bottom of the barrel, and within those 5 to 10 years, they've skyrocketed because they've made different decisions. It's about the individual's own decisions. It's not about the system. It's not about, again, we were handed a bad hand or whatever it is. Everybody's handed a damn hand. Everybody's got something going on. Everybody. And we forget that part. We talk about compassion, empathy, and caring. But then, when it's certain types of people, that just goes out the door. They don't matter. Come on.
In America don't have wealth like others because they choose not to generate wealth through investments and passing their money down.
Who's teaching us to do this?
We should teach each other to do it. Why does somebody got to teach? You want the white man to teach us? Is that what you're saying?
I mean, hell, teach us something.
Okay, no, you.
So first, it's, the white man's the problem, right? And they're the issue, and they created the systemic injustice, etc. And then they're also supposed to be the one who saves us, right? That's, again, there's no real logic in this thinking. And those who align with this way of thinking, it's not rooted in any sort of reason or logic. It's not. When I was in that deep victimhood mentality, it was not logic. It was not reason. It was me feeling as if I was slighted. It was me feeling as if I was not able. It's really a sense of unworthiness, a belief that I don't deserve any better than, what my life is presenting. I don't deserve any better than, the bare minimum, in essence. So let's get into this. I don't know if I'm going to go through the entire video, but, just enough to say shit.
You could teach something. You got a college, you can get a college education. When you have children, teach your children.
So basically help yourselves. We know you have this 200-year head start.
That doesn't matter, bro. You don't have nothing to do with it. You don't have nothing to do with that.
Oh.
You don't have nothing to do with that.
I thought you said one at a time.
You don't have nothing to do with that.
I don't have nothing to do with what?
The 200 years that you're talking about.
Yes, I do. Have you ever heard of generational trauma, generational wealth? My people don't own anything.
Where
my
you
people
come? Where you
own
come
nothing.
from? Where you
How
come
can
from?
you build something when my people come from nothing? I come from South Memphis.
Okay, and again, this is gonna be close to where I close. Yeah, I am somebody who speaks on trauma and generational trauma, etc., extensively. You could have a trauma exist within a family dynamic for one generation or for 500 generations, and it's still going to be up to the individual to heal from that. So if we continue to point blame at the very same condition and not dealing with it, we continue to perpetuate it. That's how trauma works, or generational trauma. It's when people are looking at it and either not looking at it on one side or looking at it and not doing anything about it, that it continues to perpetuate. And, again, there's the political arguments of this, I guess you would say, or the socioeconomic arguments are, for the black community within this country specifically. If you look back to the 40s, the 50s, the 60s, in times of Jim Crow, when there was real life segregation, black folk couldn't go into certain places and have certain opportunities and get housing in certain places, whatever it was, these policies that were put in place by the Democratic Party at the time, there were more prosperous, or by number, per capita, we were more prosperous then in this nation than now. And that doesn't make sense, because now it's, it's literally free reign for everybody. As a matter of fact, I would argue that there's even more opportunities that are awarded where other people are discriminated against, Asian Americans, etc., where they're going to be overlooked to somebody who is a POC, a person of color, right? So we came from having the most wedded, the most entrepreneur per capita, a thriving, basically, environment, to where we are now. And I would say politically, that had a lot to do with what, the Democratic Party was pushing. That's just straight up. Lyndon Baines Johnson, a Democratic supergiant, a man they still look at and admire today. He was quoted as saying, this is public document. He said, we're going to have these niggers voting Democrat for the next 60 years. That was his quote. And so he started creating these quote unquote reforms within social services and, creating all sorts of social programs that were going to incentivize people not to do for self, but instead to rely on the government. Why? Because the government knows that when you rely on them, they remain as the power source. Simple.
I come from South Memphis.
And I come from Stop 6.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. I went to university.
What does comparison mean? What does comparison mean when the statistics say that we are behind?
We're not behind. Some people are behind. We're not behind. Why? Because we make positive decisions. He's not behind. He's not behind. She's not behind. Do I want to go point out all the black people?
You're on a college campus.
But does college guarantee us success?
You're on a college campus.
It depends on what you do with what you have presented to you.
Yep.
You born in wherever you were born at. Look at you now. What's the difference between you and other people that didn't choose?
Opportunity.
How did you get an opportunity that other people didn't? You were in debt, so you didn't have the money. You didn't have the money to pay for it.
My parents didn't have much, but they had enough to keep me out the hood trying to make some money any way I can. I know people who have no anything. They have to go out there. They have no other choice. They have a horrible education. Do you know what the education system is like here? It's horrible.
Okay, so let's explain it like this. I wanna make sure we talking at the same level.
Right.
So in America, every single person has an opportunity to do something with what they have in their hand.
And we have nothing in our hands. That's the point.
Let me say this. I believe wholeheartedly that God gives you a hand of cards to play. Hear me out.
God gives you
Hear me out. God gives you a hand of cards to play. Not everybody's hand is the same. What you can have a full deck of great cards and you play them poorly, you won't make it in life. You can have a bad hand. You play them strategically and you play them right, you'll do good in life. You had a not so good hand growing up where you grew up at. You made positive decisions that led you here. That's the hand you've been dealt. Everybody don't have a freaking silver spoon in their mouth. America is the only place.
They proportionately
Who
do.
is they?
Everybody else, man.
Everybody else like who? Are you saying white people? Brother, you in the same situation as all these white people and you playing the victim.
Am I?
You at the same university?
Am I? What is the same university?
No, I would say he's not. I'll say he's in it even better because everybody's afraid to tell him the truth because now it is essentially it is hate speech to tell him the truth. So he's actually in a better place because he's coddled, as you can see right here. I thought I was gonna stop, but we just gonna keep this.
What did he have to do with anything?
You go to the same classes?
I had a 4.3 GPA in high school. I did what I was supposed to.
What you got now?
I did what I was supposed to do.
What's your GPA now?
3.6.
Brother, what's holding you back then?
That's the point. Everybody doesn't have a 3.6. Everybody is
Do
not.
you just get a 3.6 because you woke up one day? You studied, didn't you?
Right, no,
What?
I actually didn't.
You didn't study.
No.
So then you have a gift that you can go and make a 3-point something and don't even study.
Right.
Brother, I mean, I don't know. I think we're wasting our time talking to each other. The bottom line is that if you study, you work hard, you play the cards that you're dealt properly, you will be successful. This country makes more millionaires than anywhere in the world. You can talk, Oprah Winfrey came from nothing. Tyler Perry came from nothing. I mean, you go down a list. You go down a list, brother.
Why are you naming rich black people?
Because these are the people.
Why are you naming
Well,
rich?
They're literally the example that contradicts your very own statement. So, and we love to use this thing again. It's part of the victim complex. Well, those are the bourgeoisie. Those are just, those are puppets. Those are blah, blah, blah. Okay, so who is good enough to point at? Who is good enough? Because there are countless black women, black men who are creating businesses, who are creating wealth, who are in maybe corporate jobs or in blue collar jobs that are building lives where they are prospering financially as a byproduct of their decisions. So he uses them because, again, we can't listen to, the millionaire next door. We got to hear Tyler Perry, right? Bob Johnson, etc. Because they're the representatives. So it's like, if you want to talk about representation, there's the representation. For the masses, there's a representation. If you want to go into every other culture, they're going to look at their representation. Obviously, he's in an institution where he is literally seeing young black men and young black women becoming doctors, lawyers, psychologists, business leaders, etc. He is literally seeing it and he can't see it because the victim mindset is a virus. I promise you that.
These are the people.
Why are you naming
what
rich
about me?
black people?
All right, me.
You talking about me and you. I'm talking about everybody in the surrounding, everybody outside of this bubble.
Listen, man, you're a product of your decision making. You're an example that you can come.
By the way, in these types of conversations, you have to remember that you're actually not trying, you're not going to get to a conclusion. Like for me at this point, right? I won't get into these back and forths with somebody, but I will make a statement or a closing statement on something on my side about something. So if somebody says something and it's, counter and they haven't convinced me in that, I'm still going to put my statement for not them because they already made their decision. Most people in the debate are not going to change their mind. They're looking to defend their stance. That's what that debate is about. But what I would do is I will leave that message for somebody else. So this debate is not for this guy because this guy actually isn't listening. It's for the people in the back. It's for the ones who are going to watch this piece of content. It's for the ones who are going to watch, Tatum's video as well as my own video about Tatum's video. So, that's the beauty of these types of conversations is it leads to at least those who are fertile soil, who are ready to receive the message. They will receive that message. This dude, he's cooked.
What are we saying? You came from nothing, you're at the university. Well, how about you go and teach other young men like you that grew up where you grew up how to do what you did to get here, period. What's the problem in that? Well, come to the mic, please. Can you come to the mic?
He want me off the mic.
No, it doesn't matter about recording. Can you come to the mic so we can hear your question, please?
Come on, we can
No,
double team
it's
the
so
mic.
we can get the audio in.
We can double team the mic. We can double team the mic.
Just
It's
ask
okay.
the question and I'll try to answer your question. Hold on one second. What's your question?
How does everyone have an opportunity when systematically the U.S. has multiple inequities within?
What inequities? Can you explain one? Wait, inequities in education, what does that mean? Do you consider yourself a minority?
I do.
Is the country against you?
Technically, in a way, it could be.
But it's not. You're here. You did what you're supposed to do to get here.
That's
That's what it's about, individuality. If you do what you need to do.
This is why I be by myself. This is why I just keep it to me and Bay. Because exhaustion.
What you need to do, you'll be here.
You as in everybody on this campus.
Listen, some people grow up in a terrible environment. Can we agree? Some people in that terrible environment make positive decisions to get out of that.
And mind you, in these institutions, they teach these kids, don't think for yourself. We're going to think for you. We're going to continue. Like, you know, so that's what the rest of them, nobody's going to stand up and say something different, especially because he's the one who is, you know, standing as the righteous leader in their eyes. And he's black and he's, oh, man, they're going to look to, you know, to at least not piss him off, to at least not to tick him off anymore because, you know, God forbid you keep somebody accountable for their own decisions in life. Ugh, can't do that.
Some people, it takes longer in life to do that.
Like
and that's not a black thing. It's a everybody thing. There's poor white people in this country too. Do you not forget that? Most people on food stamps are white. Most people incarcerated are white.
Most people in the country are white.
Most people get killed by police are white.
Most everybody in this country is white. What does that statistic have to do with anything?
That if poverty was just relegated to black people, it would only be black people that are poor.
You talking on a script. I can't listen.
All right, come on. Next person.
Yeah, speaks for itself. You take away from that what you take away. I'm just going to leave it at that. That, my friends, is the victimhood mentality manifest. That's what it does to an individual. And the more you continue to feed that beast, the more it continues to grow. Yep.
I used to be afraid of the dark, place unknown like a heart in their heart. I used to see my life in the bar. Now the kids unchained, every shackle is lost. 2 steps in the moonlight, 2 step in the daytime. You just know when it feel right. You got a feeling the time's not. See you through those shades that I just threw on. Through my lenses, you just can't do no wrong. I fell in love with myself again. I fell in love with myself. I fell in love with the sunshine. I fell in love with the light. I fell in love with the full moon. I fell in love with the